Hey guys, and welcome to another video. And this is another topic that I had brought up before on a lot of the forums that I'm a part of, but I'm pretty sure I've never talked about it in a video. So anyway, you would say that this is kind of a, well, on one forum I kind of lumped this into a category that another guy had created. It was called the More About You series. Just one of those things where you say, hey, what would you do if you had this? What would you make of it? What would be your dream version of something? I think I have a few other videos I could do with a similar idea, but in this one I wanted to talk about what your dream house would be. And all of a sudden that sounded very Barbie-like, but I thought about this for a long time. If money was no object, if you didn't have to worry about that, and you were to design and build your own house, what would you make that house? Would you make it big with a lot of amenities? Would it be small and like economical? Would you have a whole bunch of people that would live there with you, or would it be all yours? Would it be, like your castle on the hill, and you're the only person allowed within it? Like I said, as the title's going to say, what is your dream house? And as excuse me, and as I have said, I've thought about this a lot ever since I was probably like in my teens. I've dreamt about, like this fantasy home that I would build. And it's always been pretty much the same type of setup. It would be considered, I guess, what you would call a mansion. It would be big. It would have a lot of rooms in it. I would like to have some guest rooms. I'd like to have my own bedroom, a nice, big, spacious bedroom that a person could feel cozy but not cramped in. But in my opinion, who cares about, I got a bedroom and I've got a bathroom. I would want a bathroom with like a nice big, say like a whirlpool bathtub, and a walk-in type shower and all that. But that's all, to me, that's just pretty pedestrian stuff that most people are going to come up with something like that. The cool things for my house would be this. Because I'm a gamer and a collector, a movie watcher, I love music, I would want my house to have all of those kinds of things, like all of the best of when it comes to being able to play my games, watch movies, listen to music and whatnot. So, I've always dreamt of having my own personal movie theater. Now, not some 500 or 1,000 seat stadium type theater. Something cozy and small, something that would probably hold 20 to 30 people tops. With the stadium style seating, which if I remember right, stadium style seating is sort of the seating that ramps up, so that if you're sitting in a seat here and someone's in front of you, they're below you, so you see over them. You can see the screen. But it wouldn't be those crappy little fold-down seats. They would be nice, almost like recliners. Just something nice and comfy. And the screen itself would be, I don't know, I don't want to speculate as to what the screen size would be for some of the biggest TVs that are out there, because I just can't honestly envision what like a 100-inch TV would look like as far as that goes. I've seen 60 and 70-inch TVs. It would definitely have to be much bigger than that, but not necessarily theatrical screen size. But once again, it would be something where people could sit down and watch a movie and feel immersed, feel like they're in the theater without being in a theater. And of course, it would have the theater surround sound with all the thumping bass and the sounds going around you. And this thing would also double as like a normal television. Like you'd be able to just go in, flip it on, cable, satellite, local channels, whatever. You would see it all on this particular setup. And that would be where I would go to watch Blu-rays and, digital content, and like I said, television as well. Now, the next thing would be my game room. And I have always envisioned my game room as a very large rectangular shaped room with large televisions at each end and TVs along the other walls that would all be hooked up to their own individual consoles. And you would have the best high definition televisions that you could have for the newer consoles. But then you'd also have appropriate style televisions for the older ones. Now I could make my PS2 and my Wii look pretty good on my high definition television with the right cables. So I don't think I would have like tube television technology for anything other than, say, Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1 and N64, etc. But you'd have them all set up in the room. Like I said, it's kind of a rectangular shaped room with nice TVs on each side and then the other TVs on the sides. And in the middle of the room, there'd be like a couch, like a couch that would wrap around. It would sort of be like, I wanted to describe it as sort of like an island, like a countertop island, only the seats that would be around it would be facing towards the walls. It would be like a padded couch thing that wraps around, and anywhere you were sitting on it, you'd be able to sit in front of a TV with a console to play your games. And then on top of that, those shelving, maybe not necessarily shelves like this that you would just buy in the store and throw together, probably installed into the wall type shelving, because that's been a dream of mine for as long as I've been collecting this kind of stuff, for probably a good 10-15 years, to have shelves that are built into the wall to put movies and games and stuff like that on. But those would be on the walls everywhere that you go. The games for the console at the television that you're playing would be right there nearby. And that would be my game room. To me, that would be like the perfect game room. Excuse me. And I would also have a computer with a nice setup, probably a multi-monitor setup, something that you could stream from, something that you could play all your online games and stuff, and that would be somewhere in that same game room. That would be like my dream game setup. Everything hooked up to televisions with their games nearby, being able to play it at any time, with friends or by yourself. That would just be perfect. Now, a couple of the other things that I would love to have in this dream house, one would actually be outside of the dream house, but that would be essentially like maybe not necessarily a major league size, but a baseball diamond on the property, so that I could go out at any time and hit balls and play catch if somebody was there, and be able to play a game there. But even if nobody ever came over to play, I would still love to have an actual baseball diamond so I could just hit baseballs and just kind of feel like I'm in the game. A big regret of mine is that I didn't pursue that when I was younger, and maybe I would have been able to play baseball at some level, even if it wasn't professional, just to have played it more than I did. It feels kind of like a lot of years were squandered. That's why my dream house would have a diamond right there, something like out of Field of Dreams or whatever, just out in the cornfield, but a regular diamond right there to play a little ball on. Back inside the house, two other things I always wanted, and I think 15-20 years ago when I was thinking about this, it wouldn't have been feasible, or else it would have been majorly expensive. But nowadays, I've seen these kind of systems for sale in retail stores. But it would be a setup that would allow me to have a nice stereo somewhere in the house with CDs and, of course, nowadays digital music all set up in it, and with a nice, setup, speakers, surround sound, whatever, right there with the stereo, but also speakers and stuff set up throughout the house so that I could play that music in any room that I wanted to, or all the rooms at all times if I wanted. And it would just be like the entire house was rocking. I think that would be amazing. Instead of having stereos in every room, have one master stereo somewhere in the house, and then the entire house wired up or wirelessly set up to let you hear that music wherever you were at. Just love that idea. And then one of the last things, probably kind of a silly idea, but it's cool. This comes from back when I lived in Montana, and my friends and I would go to the mall all the time, and we'd eat at a lot of like all-you-could-eat buffets. There was one in the mall whose name escapes me now, and there were other ones, and there's been ones here in Missouri that have those little drink setups, little places where you can get, whatever pop that you want, or water, or milk, or whatever it may be. They also have the ones that dispense the like ice cream and stuff. But I would want one. It wouldn't even have to have any of the soda pop. It wouldn't have to have anything else. Mine would just dispense chocolate milk, and that would be it. And I would love to have like one in the kitchen, but maybe 2 or 3 others in the house, so that if I was upstairs or whatever, I could just go up there and get chocolate milk out of it whenever I wanted. I still love chocolate milk like you wouldn't believe, and it would just be phenomenal to cap off everything else about the house with a chocolate milk dispenser in it. Now, one thing I feel like I may be neglecting a little bit is the fact that, I have a daughter now, and I would definitely set up some stuff in the house that would be specifically for her, whatever she would want. I don't want it to sound like this is just my place. Like I said before, some people might want a castle where they were the only people allowed into it, but I would definitely have some cool stuff in my house that would go to, providing my daughter with some sort of a fun and entertaining living space. I just can't think of what any of that stuff would be right now because she's an 8-year-old girl, and that's not the way that I think. But I'm sure she would come up with some fun stuff for it as well. And I would want this to be a place where my friends would hang out. And I think it goes without saying that I would hope that my friends wouldn't take advantage of that. But this is a different kind of a scenario here. This is a scenario basically where I'm putting forth, if I had all that money already, this is what I would build. Not like if somebody just gave me a bunch of money and boom. Because that's when you discover that maybe some friends don't really want to be your friend for you, but because all of a sudden you have a whole lot of money. But that's nothing to do with this. I just think it would be really, really awesome to have a nice big house with all the basic type things, the bedrooms and the living rooms. A library would be something that I would really, really like to have. I forgot to mention that. That is something I've thought about. Just a library, you just walk in and it's just, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, books everywhere. That would be really, really cool too. To have the bedrooms, the living rooms, the library, all those other rooms, the gaming room, all that kind of stuff, and make it a really cool place for people to want to come hang out. That would be really, really awesome. That would be my dream house. And there's probably more I could go into, like more ideas and more concepts. Like a storm shelter would be something that my house would have to have built into it. In fact, if I had the money, the whole entire thing would be like a storm shelter. And a lot of other things that I'm not really thinking of right now. But obviously, I think you understand the most important parts of what would make a house like that my dream house. So, anybody else have any thoughts about like what their dream house would be? Comment. I'd love to see maybe some other people do videos about this. It'd be really cool just to kind of hear what would be important to somebody in their own personal dream house if money was not an option. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.